Gamer7 and welcome back to another Create a Sim video. This one is part of the Pokemon CAS series, but it actually is not a Pokemon 2 sim. It's actually one of the few Create a Sims that I did of some humans that are actually in the show or in the game. Now, these particular three are both in the show and in the game. I think they go a little more in depth into this family in the show than they do in the game. This is going to be Lillie and her family. So this is from Sun and Moon, which is the newest generation of the anime, games, and Pokemon themselves. So I'm making Lillie, her brother, and their mother. Now, I do know, even though I haven't fully watched the full anime for Sun and Moon, I do know there actually is a fourth family member. But since that is a newer, season and stuff like that, I didn't know it, so I'm not really going to go fully into it, other than that there is another family member. I'm not going to go into what capacity the family member is or anything like that, and I didn't make them in this, because one, I didn't look to go see what they look like in the first place. So, first I am making Lillie here. Lillie is probably the one out of the three that is the most known, and also if you play the game and if you see the anime, she shows up first out of all three of these. Also, I'm just gonna let you, another thing, since this is a newer season, spoiler alert before I get to the other two family members, because it is known that she has other family members, but if you haven't fully played the game and you haven't fully watched the anime and you don't want it to be ruined, you may not want to watch the rest of this episode, because I am going to say exactly who her siblings are, other than the one member, but that is another thing before I get into it. So, if you haven't seen exactly who they are, because it isn't necessarily revealed at first who they are when you actually see them in the game and in the show. So, you see them before you know who they are. But, yeah. Anyway. So, on to Lillie here. So, I was trying to create Lillie. Lillie is very, very cute and, sort of girly, sensitive, and she doesn't really fool with Pokemon too much, but she loves them at the same time, so it's this weird complex of where she doesn't really like to be necessarily really close to them, but she also loves them. But she does have one particular, like in the game, she has a Pokemon to begin with at the very beginning that she's protecting. In the anime, it's a little bit different. That was definitely something really weird to me, like how different Lillie was in the anime to begin with in the game, but oh well. So, with her, when I put that one hair on her, I realized how much she actually looked like Lynn from my Eevee family series, which was really strange, because I did not create Lynn. Lynn is actually, made by Sims through genetics, so it is two Sims that I created had a baby, and the game decided this is how she's gonna look, and somehow I almost recreated her when creating Lillie, because she looked so much like Lynn, it wasn't even funny. So I did remove that hair off of her, and I gave her a ponytail. Now, Lillie has two different looks, sort of. Sometimes she is wearing the ponytail, and sometimes she has her hair down with a hat. So I went for the ponytail for the more look, because one, I thought it looked a little bit more like her compared to some of the other hairs I have. But I actually do give her, I think, a second look, that I actually do include a hairstyle that is down, and I give her a hat as well. So I sort of embodied both of them. Now, the outfit I do eventually give Lillie here is it's not too far off from, well, I'm trying to remember all of her outfits that you've seen. She wears white and blue all the time. Basically, that is her main colors that she wears, particularly white with a hint of blues. So trying to find something that was cute and adorable and also fit her style at the same time was a little bit hard to do, harder than I thought it would. But I do eventually go with, it's a crop top and a skirt. I think you've already seen it on her, but I'm going through trying to still figure out whether or not I want to go with that, because it was mainly white with blues. And I was thinking, the version of her that you see in the game and in the anime is a younger version. I can't remember exactly what her age would have been, but Ash usually is around the age of 10. I don't think they've ever let him age at all in any of the animes or games. Well, he's not even really technically in the games, but in the anime, he's never really aged. And most of the characters you play are around the age of 10, because that's when you're able to get a Pokemon of your own. So I'm assuming that Lillie is somewhere around the age of 9, 10, 11, somewhere around in there in the show and stuff. But this version of Lillie is a teenager, so I imagine her style would probably have changed just a little bit she would start to look a little bit older, start to be able to dress a little bit differently. So this is how I sort of imagined her, with a little twist as she's gotten older, but still trying to keep the style of Lillie. As you can tell, there's the hair that I'm trying to go for. I'm trying to make sure the hair stays the similar color as to what her actual hair is in the ponytail, or at least as close to it as I possibly can get. But I do like her ponytail look a little bit better anyway, so I'm glad that I sort of kept more with that one instead, like as her like main look, because I like it better. But here in a second, we're going to be getting onto the next sim, which hopefully at this point this is not becoming a spoiler to you, but this is Gladion, I think that's how his name is pronounced, which is her brother. Now, for any of you who has not seen the anime or watched played the game, I think in the anime it comes out a lot faster than it does in the game, but when you first see him, you don't know that he is Lillie's brother, but he actually is. He's her older brother. I don't know how much older, but he is the older one. So I do know that much. He's older, just I don't think he's much older, because he doesn't look like he's a whole lot older. But he's definitely got, like, the completely opposite style of Lillie. When I seen him in the game, I will say, I remember when I was playing the game that I did think he did have some resemblance to her when I first seen him, to a certain extent, and I was like, well, that's a little weird, but at the same time, there was, like, no way, because the way his personality, attitude, and everything else was just did not fit for Lillie, so it didn't really cross my mind. But then you figure out it is her brother, so, and that's a little like, what? But in the anime, if I remember correctly, because I did watch the first season of Sun and Moon, he actually has an Umbreon following him around, I am pretty sure, which I strongly approve of. Yes! I'm pretty sure it's an Umbreon. It's an Umbreon and a Midnight, or is it Midnight? Form of Lycanroc? I forget what the forms are. There's like the Dusk, Dawn, and Midday. Dusk form is the one that he has. So, but yeah, I strongly approve of his Pokemon choices. But I will say Gladion, I think, leans more towards the characters that I tend to actually like in shows and in games. I don't know why. I just tend to go towards the ones that are sort of darker and twisty and things like that, but not necessarily bad. So he is more of one that I would go gravitate towards, and I do actually sort of in some ways like him better than Lillie, like in the show and almost in my Sims as well already. But I do like Lillie too, and I like how both of them turned out. I think his style actually fits pretty closely to the style that Gladion will wear. It was a little bit, maybe just a little bit easier with him because Gladion is a little bit older in the show and game, so, you know, you could sort of see how his style is developing more. But, so, yeah. But anyway, and last but not least, which was the really big, like, shocker, sort of, if you play and stuff, the game and everything, is the mother, which is Lusamine? I don't think I've ever said her name right, ever. But, you see her, and I think she looked like one of the coolest people ever. And then you find out that she is Gladion and Lillie's mother, and you're like, what? And then you also found out her age, which is like, she's like in her 40s, 50s, and the way she looks, which I'm gonna try to get pictures of them up on the side of the screen like I did with the Pokemon. I just know how I'm gonna do it since there's 3 of them. But anyway, she did not look like she was her age. She also did not look like she had 2 kids. Like the type that would have had 2 kids. And also the fact, I don't know how she is in the show, because I don't think she's popped up in the show that I've watched. But in the game, how she was towards her kids made me be like, I don't like you at all. But, you know, it was interesting to sort of make her. I did make her an actual adult versus an actual young adult just because of her actual age. But, of course, you know, I put skin details on, so that does cover up any of the features that an adult gets that makes them a little bit different from a young adult. But, honestly, how she looks in the anime and in the game, You would imagine she's the type that is getting, like, some sort of Botox or something, because she does not. She looks like she's, like, mid, early 20s, late 20s at the, like, oldest. But no, she's not. So, it was very unexpected when I found out, like, how old she technically was. I don't know the exact age, but I'm pretty sure it's around in her, like, 40s. That's what I think. If I'm pretty sure. But, so, it was like, whoa. But she was really cool. I could not represent the way she looked in Sims very well at all, to be really honest with you, because she's got this really cool looking hair that looks like it defies gravity and, like, is wrapping around her almost. So it was very interesting. So most of the long hairs I've already used in this series, and plus I didn't think they fit very well for her. I at least went for this hair because it had, like, the little side swoop, and it had, like, the color blonde that I wanted to go for and things like that, and I also thought it just fit the way the Sim had looked. So that's the reason why I went with her hair. I know I spent the shortest time on Gladion just because it was so easy to get clothes for him. Like, as soon as I started making him, I already had I went through and sort of looked at some of the clothes, but I already had, like, a few clothes in mind that I was like, I just got they would perfect for him. So I sort of almost had a clear mind for him immediately. And Lillie, though I did have a few issues, it was pretty quick once I started really getting into hers. But, you know, Lillie also is the one that you see the most, so I was expected to spend the most time on her. But I definitely spent the same amount of time, or maybe even a little bit more time, on Lusamine. I don't know how you say her name. I just really don't. But in the end, I think it does look pretty good representation of her. I just don't think it's as where I wish it could be, mainly because her hair. Her hair is the big thing, and I feel like a hair is a big statement of that character. But I did not have any hair that could dramatically represent that and still look right on her. So, you know, it was that sort of process of trying to figure that out and trying to represent her the best way I could and the best way I thought was for her. So I did struggle with her a little bit more. And also, she's just very fancy and over-dramatic also. So, you know, you also had to try to get that fancy and over-dramatic. She is nothing like Lillie and Gladion. Like, they are nothing really like her, in all honesty. Like, these three people are very different from one another, and to know that they are family members, it's, like, sort of baffling. But, oh well. They are, that's how it is. Some families like that. I am not like most people in my family when you really think about it, so I guess, you know, it's really not a far off thing, but, you know, in shows they tend to try to make it where you can almost tell, but it wasn't obvious immediately. But I am happy with all three of them. I think I'm the most happiest with how Gladion turned out, and then probably Lillie, and then their mother. But all of them did turn out pretty well, and I think they do represent the character they're supposed to be portraying to a certain extent, and, you know, pretty well. She's the furthest away, but she's still pretty close to up there. Screenshots should be coming up. I have group screenshots as well as individual screenshots for them, so, you know, you have that loveliness. But I hope that you've enjoyed this episode of the Pokemon CAS series. If so, please hit that lovely like button and make sure you're subscribed, and also to share the video with others. Tell me which one out of these three is your favorite. If you've watched the show and played the game and stuff like that, tell me, does my Sims represent the way that you would imagine them? And such. And make sure to check out all of my Sims 4 playlists down in the description below if you haven't already. Also, all of my social media will be down there too, so you can go follow me on those and keep updated through those means as well. And I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye!